Hello and welcome to Me, the Wife and Wrexham AFC.
A weekly podcast and YouTube channel where we discuss all things Wrexham AFC from the point of view of long-term fans and new fans.
So sit back, put your feet up, relax and let's get stuck in. Hello and welcome to episode 67 of Me, the Wife and Wrexham AFC. I'm not very well.
I said to Ryan before we started, I said, don't act as if you're unwell, but look what he does.
That's the sympathy I get. Don't act like you're unwell.
I'll give you sympathy when we're off camera.
Yeah, I know. I just feel a bit rubbish, to
Right,
be
well, I'll get
honest.
started then. Should we crack on with the news?
Go on then.
So this week, Sam Dalby signed a further season contract. So he will be with us for the this rest of this season, obviously, and next season, which is great news, I think.
Yeah, it is. I think it's been a weird one for Sam, I think, this season. A lot of people sort of questioning whether he's a little bit out of his depth. He hasn't really performed the way he did for us last season. He didn't get loads of game time last season, but the game time he got, he was very good. And I think the game time he's had this season, perhaps he struggled a little bit.
You like that word, perhaps?
Perhaps, yeah. Maybe he struggled a touch to make any sort of impact on the
But
game.
can you argue that there are other players that are the same?
Yeah, maybe so. But, you know, I think it's a good thing. A young player who's obviously learning from some really top-class players around him in his position. He's got Stephen Fletcher there. He's got Ollie Palmer. He's got Paul Mullin. You know, he's got players around him, especially someone like Stephen Fletcher.
Yeah.
The amount you could learn from somebody like that is huge. So I think it's a good thing.
Definitely.
I think Sam just needs to try and find his feet in a higher division, I think. And as soon as he does, I think it'll, you know.
I think so. I'm glad. I like Sam.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I was gonna say something else. I don't know what it was. But...
So the draw for the round one
of the FA
Cup
yeah.
was drawn last Sunday.
Yeah, so we've had an episode come out since the draw, but we recorded the episode before the draw, so we haven't really talked about it. We got Mansfield.
Yeah, a bit boring.
Yeah, a little bit maybe, because we already played them this season. We've already played them away as well, and we sort of struggled to break them down a little bit. But you're not going to get a big tie in this round. I mean, the biggest team you're going to get is a League One team,
which would have been nice.
Maybe, or would it have been nice to have, you know,
or maybe a National League team?
Yeah,
maybe.
just to
maybe
get through your first couple of rounds with it. Not saying easier opponent than maybe some that you've played.
Some of the National League teams this season are doing really well.
I know.
So,
but, you know,
never underestimate a National League team.
No, it's worth mentioning that game's been moved as well. So it was originally scheduled for a 3 p.m. kickoff on the 4th of November. It is now a 7:45 kickoff UK time, obviously. That'll have quite a big impact on anybody who's planning to watch that in sort of like Australia or that side of the world, because that's going to be quite early in the morning for you, I'm guessing. But it's the same as a Tuesday game, 7:45, and it's a Saturday night, so just power through, innit?
Get some beer and power through.
Power through. I wanted to bring up last week. We did an interview last week, which we are planning on sharing with you lot this week. So this week we've got 2 episodes of the podcast to share with you. There's one being released today, Monday, and then there is another one being released tomorrow. So the one being released tomorrow is an interview with Wrexham legend Neil Roberts. So we chat with Neil for about an hour, and it was great. And a little bit later in the show, we're gonna show you a little clip of that.
It was such a good interview. I
It
just,
was.
I did, for a new fan, I didn't know too much about Neil Roberts, obviously.
No,
'cause
fair enough. Yeah.
He was gone by the time that I started.
Well gone.
Well
Yeah,
gone.
yeah.
But he is just, he's so down to earth. And, I've seen loads of people commenting about Neil Roberts saying, what a nice guy he is. And do you know what? That is so true.
All true.
Such a good guy.
All true. But yeah, like I say, we'll talk a little bit more about that shortly.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the Bradford game, shall we?
Yep. Shall we? I thought it was a good, solid game from both sides.
Yeah. I'm with you.
But disappointed that we didn't get the win.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's one of them, isn't it, where if you'd have given me 1-1 prior to the game, the question is, would I have taken that? Probably,
I think a lot of people
away to Bradford, decent team. They're playing well at the moment. I think they've won 3 in a row. I think Bradford have since the new managers sort of come in. Mark Hughes left, new managers come in. I think they've won 3 in a row up until Saturday. So they've got a little bit of a head of steam. They were obviously in the playoffs last season. The squad is good. We're away from home. Someone says 1-1, you sort of go, take that. There's games when we need to be looking to pick up 3 points. That was one where you sort of go away from home against a very good team. I'll take a draw there.
It was close though, wasn't it?
But having said that, the way I think for it to have been so late, that's the bit that annoys you. If they'd have gone 1-0 up after 4 minutes and then we'd have equalised in the 85th, I don't think I'd have felt so down about it.
Because it was the other way round.
But because we were in the lead
and
they equalised late on, I think that's why it sort of puts a little bit of a downer on the whole thing.
It does, but I think when I do the post on social about the full-time score and everything, I put on there that I think Parky and the team should be really proud of themselves about how they how they played yesterday, because I thought they from start to finish they were just incredible. I don't think anybody, which I'm sure people will because we didn't get 3 points, so people were like, oh, we were rubbish. But I think the fact that we've got a point and the fact that we played so well, I think we should be proud of the lads.
Yeah, it's a positive, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
I think so. It just doesn't. I'm not sure it feels like that. If I'm completely honest, I'm not sure it does feel like that.
Well, that's why I'm positive and you're negative.
So anyway, start of the game. No Aaron Hayden.
Nope.
This week, which was disappointing.
Injury, do you reckon, or just resting?
Who knows? They seem to keep their cards quite close to their chests with regards to injuries and why players aren't there and stuff like that. We don't get to hear as much as we used to anymore about what's going on, which I get that. You've got a sort of warts and all documentary camera crew following you around all the time, and
you want to keep some things.
Yeah, and you don't want to be sharing everything with the world, do you?
With the teams that are released on the day of the game.
Yes.
How is that the first time that the managers of the and the coaches of the opposing team?
Yeah.
Is that the first time that they see who we've got?
No, not necessarily. So basically, So like the managers of the opposing teams aren't on Twitter waiting for it to be released. So they'll be you'll do your team sheet. I mean, I don't know what it's like now. It might be a digital team sheet. I don't know.
Yeah.
Back in the day, it was a piece of paper, and you wrote your team on that piece of paper.
Once that's written down, you can't change that unless there's an injury.
That is, yeah. So that's submitted then, and then it would be, everyone knows what your team's going to be. I think that's normally done at about 1:30.
So still time to, they're looking at our team going, right, okay, he's playing, let's mix this up a bit, maybe.
Potentially, yeah. But I think you're sort of preparing your team for anything, really. So I don't think you're massively. It's a bit late in the day to be changing.
I was going to say you're probably not much of a good manager if you're going, right, okay, Parky's playing this, and this. We're playing this, and this. And the players are like, what?
Yeah.
We've been training like this for a week.
Yeah. So that's sort of how it goes. We had 2 centre halves on the bench.
Halves.
two centre halves on the bench,
Yep.
and once again, Tom O'Connor was in defence.
You made a comment about that. You said, "Oh, O'Connor's in defence again."
Yeah, I don't get it. I think he struggled a little bit, Tom O'Connor, yesterday. I think teams are starting to realise now that he's not a defender. He does okay when he comes in. I'm not gonna say that he doesn't. You know,
Yeah.
he can win balls in the air. He can make tackles. It's fine, but he isn't a defender. And I think teams are. I sort of noticed that Bradford pressured him a bit. So he made a mistake quite early on where he tried to play a pass out, and they were sort of closing him down. They got the ball off him. They got a little bit of a chance. I'm just wondering if teams are starting to target him a little bit, knowing that he isn't a defender.
Yeah, it's possible.
And I'm not saying he plays bad when he's in defence. He doesn't. He's decent, but I do worry a little bit that teams are starting to target him and but especially when you've got two centre halves who had Will Boyle and Ben Tozer on the bench, and we're sort of persisting with playing a midfielder. It's like just repetitive, this, isn't it? Because it happens again and again.
But like we say, in Parky we trust. There's got to be a reason why. I have no idea what that reason is, because Ben Tozer and Will Boyle are,
because
are obviously that position, so they would arguably be better.
But more so, Will Boyle, really, because Will Boyle is a left side of the defensive three, and that's where Tom O'Connor's playing, on the left side of a defensive three. So it's not as if you haven't got a player there that is tailor-made for that position. You have, and you've chose to sit him on the bench.
Maybe Boyle's fitness isn't 90 minutes worth at the minute, maybe, for some reason.
Why is he on the bench then?
No, I'm not saying he's not fit. Yeah. I'm just saying he might not be fit enough to play the full 90 minutes.
Okay.
But then you'd argue, why didn't Parky bring him on for the last quarter of an hour or half an hour?
Maybe. No, I don't know. So Jones and Evans in midfield again. Is that our midfield now, do you think? What's that, 5 or 6 games in a row I think they've played, them two together?
I hate to say it, but yeah, I think it might be.
But what happens when we don't need to play? Well, there's an argument we don't need to play Tom O'Connor in defence now, but what happens when he's available for the midfield again? We've obviously got Luke Young there as well. We've got Tom O'Connor, got Andy Cannon. What happens? You know what I mean?
I don't understand why Luke Young's not, even why. I'm completely perplexed as to why he's not been in. I know obviously George Evans is starting, but I don't understand why Luke Young isn't having a chance. Like, what game was it?
So would you play Luke Young over George Evans at the moment then?
Purely because I know and love Luke Young and the way he plays, and I know that he's really. I find I'm not saying Luke Young doesn't make mistakes, because everybody makes mistakes, but I find that George Evans possibly makes more silly mistakes.
Do you think?
I do, yeah, and they're not massive mistakes, and they haven't been detriment to the game or the score or whatever, but they could be.
I just think George maybe offers a little bit more than Luke with his sort of progressive passing wise. I think Luke's more of a workhorse, I think, and you'll get more.
But don't you think we need that in the team?
I don't know what you. It's awkward, isn't it? Because what you want is your team on the front foot and pushing forward and being progressive, and I think George fits that maybe better than Luke does. I think.
I'll never agree with Luke.
No. I think maybe that George fits that. But if you want a bit of a workhorse in the middle who's going to put that effort in, then that's what Luke does. But that's also what James Jones does. But I'm not sure you can play Luke with George. I'm not sure that really works. I think it's George or Luke. I don't know. It's awkward for me. I'm not really sure.
It makes me sad. I hate having this conversation every single week. Why isn't Luke not in the squad?
He's not though, is he? So.
No, he's not, and it's sad. It makes me sad.
Stephen Fletcher started.
Oh, I'm so happy.
Yeah. What did you make of him starting, whole game wise? I
thought he was brilliant.
Yeah.
I did. Not knocking Ollie Palmer at all, because Ollie Palmer is a great player as well. But it was just really good to see Stephen Fletcher start, and you know, he didn't play the whole 90 minutes, granted. Obviously Ollie Palmer came on, can't remember when it was.
65.
Was it 65?
Yeah.
But I think for the whole 65 minutes that he played pretty damn well. I think I really like, I told you, I didn't tell you, but I said on the last podcast about his Scottish determination and his guts, and I just think I love him.
Yeah.
I think he's brilliant. I really, really do like Stephen Fletcher.
I think he was good. You know, the game when it started, it was very sort of end to end, and I think maybe Stephen Fletcher had the first real chance where he got into the box and he had a chance to shoot and he just sort of went down, didn't he?
Was this the penalty?
Yeah. Was it a penalty?
I don't know. It was really hard to see because at the time, obviously, you know, watching the highlights, where it was, the camera angle, it was because there was quite a few Bradford players around him. Yeah. So it was quite difficult to see, but obviously it wasn't because the linesman didn't notice it, but that doesn't mean jack all, to be honest.
It doesn't, no. It was just a bit odd for me because he had a chance to sort of pull the trigger. He was there and he just seemed to collapse and go down, and I couldn't. I've watched it a few times. I couldn't really see where the contact was. I don't know if he was going down because of like a push in the back. I certainly couldn't see anything around the sort of feet and ankle area where he'd been tripped.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a little bit odd. I was sort of hoping he'd just powered through a little bit there and just had a shot. But he didn't. The ref wasn't afraid to dish out some yellow cards, was he?
Heck, he was yellow card happy yesterday.
He was.
On Saturday, sorry.
He gave out 4 in the first 29 minutes. I think he gave out 5 in total in the first half.
There was 1 yellow card though, which completely baffled us. Yeah, I mean, I think it was George Evans who did the tackle.
Oh yeah, and he booked
James Jones. James Jones was like, what? What? Me? And yeah, I think that was a bit of a. But obviously, I don't know what happens in that instance, because I know that when a game when we were in the National League, Bryce Hosanna got a red card, but it was actually Mullen that did it.
Yeah. So it's retrospective. Yeah. So that definitely happens with reds. Does it happen with yellows? I'd have thought so.
Yeah, because you don't want that being on your record, do you?
No, but because you said, why has he been booked? And I said, oh, maybe he was arguing.
He wasn't, though.
No.
He was arguing. No, he wasn't arguing. He was just confused at why have I been booked?
Yeah.
I was nowhere near him.
No, I know.
He was near him, but he didn't make contact with him. So it was such a bizarre one. We might hear more about that in regards to whether that yellow card's been rescinded.
It wouldn't be rescinded.
Rescinded.
Get you, yeah. Yeah, it would be rescinded, but it would be given to the correct player then. So you still got a player with a booking, haven't you? So
I know.
It's not huge.
But it's unfair for a player who didn't make the tackle or whatever to get the punishment. Is my point.
Yes. The biggest chance I'd say from the first half was Mullin's diving header, wasn't it? So we had Barnett's cross, a great cross. Mullin at the back post, diving header, and it just went past the post. It was so close. I'm going to be controversial here because a lot of them saying, oh, he couldn't quite wrap his head around it. I thought he could have done a bit better with that. I genuinely thought.
For those of you who are listening and not watching, I've just rolled my eyes.
No, I've watched it a couple of times. I don't think it's the fact he doesn't wrap his head around it. He can't quite get there. I just think it's off target. I think he gets there, and I know it's difficult with a diving header to get in. But I think he gets enough on it to have put it in the bottom corner. Mm-hmm. And I just think, no, I'm not being horrible, but I just think he probably should have scored that one after seeing it a few times.
Everyone's a professional, aren't they?
Wow. There was lots of chances, wasn't it, really, in the first half. Like I said, it was really end to end. But I don't think, apart from that Mullin header, there was nothing really that was sort of clear cut, was there?
No.
There wasn't there wasn't any sort
apart from the goal that actually went in.
Yeah,
that was clear cut.
Yeah, but in that first half, there wasn't.
No.
There wasn't anything. There was the odd half chance, I would say, but it was very end to end, and it was quite breathless at times, I'd say, sort of watching them.
It was a good game, though.
It was a good
I
game, yeah.
really enjoyed that game.
Yeah, Fletcher had another chance at the end of the first half, but he dragged it quite badly wide. I think it went a good 10 yards wide of the post, swung at it with his left, and yeah, it wasn't great. So we went in at 0-0 at half time. What did you make of 0-0? Were you happy with 0-0 based on the balance of play, or?
I think so, because obviously Bradford are a good team, and you know they gave as good as they got from us, to be honest. So yeah, I just think, I was happy. I mean, I was happy that we got a point. I was gutted that we got a point because I thought we'd get 3 points, but whatever. But going into half time, I think it's what you want. You don't want to be losing going into half time, do you?
No.
So if anything, you either want to be drawing or winning. So the fact that we were drawing is quite good.
I think it was one of them really where you sort of go, you start thinking they're getting forward, we're getting forward. We could score, but also they could score. It was very much one of them games where I think both teams, with a little bit of luck here and there, could have potentially, either one of them could have been 1 or 2 up. Just with a bit of luck.
Yeah.
I think either team, without there being real chances, I just think a little bit, the ball bounces one way or another. Either team could have scored a couple, really. I think Wrexham were quite quick out of the blocks in the second half. They had a couple of early corners. I think we looked like we were on top.
Yeah.
Would you say?
Yeah,
I would say they had a chance, a ball in behind on about 52 minutes, and it was a good tackle by Evans. But yeah, I think we were still at that point where it felt like either team could potentially win it.
I think it was literally like that for the whole 90 minutes.
Yeah, I think it was probably. Yeah, I think you're probably right. Fletcher,
or the 98 as it was.
Yeah, Fletcher came off. 65.
That's what you said. Yeah. So I'll take your word for it.
And then sort of the game had sort of gone into a little bit of a lull.
Yeah.
It sort of felt like that. And then Mullin put us ahead. 68 minutes, was it? Something like that.
Approximately.
Put us 1-0. It sort of felt a little bit out of the blue. But
it was good.
Good header. I felt like maybe if we, I keep saying it's odd really. I think on the balance of play, we were 1-0 up, and it sort of felt like the right result. It felt like, we should be 1-0 up. But equally, I sort of feel like when I've looked back at it, if we were 1-0 down, you'd sort of go, yeah, I can see why. Because I don't know who was the better team up until the point we scored. I don't know if we were on top or they were on top, and I know that's not much of an analysis of the game, but it was just one of them where I don't feel like anybody. There was periods where both teams looked like they were in control, but then it would just completely flip.
Yep.
And then, like, we were in control for 5 minutes, but then it would completely flip, and we looked like we couldn't get near the ball.
This is why it was these sort of games. If we're coming out, I know obviously it's good to win and get 3 points especially when we're on the road. An away game.
Yeah.
But if we play like we played, and we come away with 1 point, I don't think anybody can really, I know 1 point isn't going to win us the league, or get us promoted.
You never know.
Well, it might, but not if we get 1 point every single game.
No, but last season, for example, the playoffs, the team in the bottom place in the playoffs and the team who were just outside the playoffs were on the same points and were separated by +1 goal difference. So, does a point matter? Yeah, it does. Okay. It potentially is massive.
Win
because
or lose, yeah.
You get to the end of the season, you go, remember we said that point wasn't important? Turns out it is pretty important, actually. So, you never know, really.
No.
Bit of a nail biter, I think, after that, because, like I said, it just sort of felt like anyone could score. We could have gone 2-0 up. They could have got back to 1-1. We could have gone 2-0, 3-0. They could have gone 1-1, 2-1, 3-1. I had no idea which way it was going to go. They equalised after 85.
Yeah.
We had numerous opportunities to clear that ball. That was the disappointing thing. It was a decent finish from the lad who scored, to be honest. It was a really good finish. But Mendy had a chance to get rid of it. We had about 3 players around him trying to tackle him, and the ball just sort of bounced. Some people would say it's a little bit unlucky where it bounced and they give him an opportunity. I just think when you've got that many players around it and that many opportunities to maybe snuff that out, I think you're quite valid in being disappointed in the way that panned out, really.
Yeah, how do you think Barnett played coming back after his suspension, after his red card?
I thought he was good, He
always is, though, I think.
I think Barnett's one of them players who, when he gets the ball, there's a little bit of a flutter of excitement.
You think something's going to happen.
Because you think he's going to get something done, because he didn't seem so confident to take on his man yesterday. I don't think
there wasn't any of those fancy little leg movements.
There was, but I don't think he just seemed a little bit standoffish, that he didn't want to take him on. He did take him on a few times, but I think he could have really pushed on.
Worried about getting another yellow card or a red card or something?
No, not if you've got the ball. You just want to push on, don't you? So, so I thought he was very good on his return, to be fair. And like I say, he is one of them players that people do get excited when he's got the ball.
I saw it quite a lot, actually. But a lot of people commented on our score prediction post saying, obviously after the game, and saying that when Barnett does get the ball, they, like you said, they feel they do have palpitations. So they think, oh my God, something's going to happen now.
Yeah.
And sadly, it doesn't. But not all the time. Sometimes it does. But yesterday, on Saturday, it didn't. Unfortunately.
Well, for his cross was for Mullins' goal. So he did.
Of course, it was.
So he did create something, and I think he's a great outlet for goals for us. I think.
I like him.
Yeah.
I don't think I dislike anybody on our team. They're all just so good.
Yeah, they are. So we're 4th in the league now.
Yeah.
Happy with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're still obviously how much has Stockport got? They've got 26.
29.
Is it 29 and we've got 26? Have we?
No, we've got 24. So they're 5 points ahead of
24.
So they're 5 points ahead of us at the moment. But I think Stockport have won 6 in a row.
Do you know? I said to you yesterday, didn't I? I said if Stockport don't, it'd be lovely if Wrexham won the league.
Yeah.
But I would be very, 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 very. I can't think of the word I want to say after very, very, very.
I don't know what you're trying to say. Are you surprised?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd be very surprised if Stockport didn't were the champions of League 2 this season.
You have to remember this isn't National League. So when teams start to go on a run in the National League, teams start going on a run. They can pretty much maintain that run because of the teams that are around them. It doesn't really work like that in League 2. Stockport have won 6 in a row. They might go the next 4 games not winning 1. So it's a strange league.
Yeah.
So it's I wouldn't be yes, they've won 6 in a row, but that doesn't really mean anything at this point. You know what I mean? So they lose a couple of their next 3 or 4 games. All of a sudden they're back in the pack and they're
I'm
back.
I'm just glad that if they're on top of the league and Notts County aren't.
Who's your man of the match Saturday?
Do you know, I was going to ask you exactly the same question. Yeah. I think as performances go, I'm going to go Stephen Fletcher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
I think it was Owen O'Connell for me.
Oh no, it was him. No, I retract what I just said. Owen O'Connell. I even said to you that he is. Yeah, Owen O'Connell, 100%. Sorry, Stephen Fletcher.
Sorry, you had it for a second.
Yeah,
but it's been taken off you.
It's been rescinded.
Yeah, it has. Rescinded. You love
my
that
favourite word now.
No, I thought Owen O'Connell was excellent. I think that maybe their goal put a little bit of a dampener on the performance because he was one of them 3 that was in and around it that maybe could have done a little bit better. But apart from
overall,
that, I thought he was excellent.
I mean, how many headers did he head the ball away from our goal?
Yeah, I thought he was superb. He's playing in the middle of that 3, which is obviously Ben Tozer's position.
So we'll see how long.
what
Yeah,
happens now? You know, you've got a player who's playing really well, in my
I
opinion.
can't handle this.
So does Ben come back?
I like Ben. I think he's good, and I think have we missed the long throws?
George Evans has got a long throw on him, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's no Tozer throw though, is it?
It isn't a Tozer throw,
No.
no. But it's one of them, is it? You can't really play a player because he's got a long throw.
No, but I think obviously Ben Tozer hasn't been in the squad for a little bit because he's having a break or whatever he's doing.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, he was in the squad on Saturday, wasn't he? He was on the bench.
Yeah, he's on the bench.
Yeah.
But he wasn't actually playing.
No.
So I think when he comes back, he'll be biting at the bit.
Chomping.
No, biting.
That's not a saying.
Well, all right.
Biting at the bit is not a saying. Chomping at the
Here's
bit.
in my little world. Chomping at the bit to come back, and he could be an amazing.
He could, but how do you drop Owen O'Connell
I don't
now?
know. Oh my God, why is this such a thing?
It's just difficult.
I mean,
isn't
it is a good problem to have, but I honestly do not envy Parky one little bit. Every week when he's going, right, who are we having in the squad this week? Oh God, we've got
I know.
in strikers, midfield, as defence.
Tough, innit?
Yeah.
Tough, really tough.
Yeah.
So the documentary this week, we had 2 episodes, didn't we?
We did.
So we had episode 8, which was The Grind, which was very much focused on the pile-up of games that we had, wasn't it, last season?
Good for us, but not so good for the team. Bit of a hard slog for the team.
Yeah, so we had a lot of games. I think it was 9 in 28 days,
Something
was it?
like
Something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do remember it last season. It was very much Tuesday, Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, Tuesday,
Great.
Saturday. It was great.
For us.
For us as fans,
fans,
yeah, because
yeah.
we got to see them a lot. But that's sort of what happens when you have a good FA Cup run. Obviously, we saw in the episode before these 2 this week, our FA Cup run, which helped the club out massively with money and exposure and all them sort of things, and instilling confidence in beating teams higher up than you and running them really close. But the sort of backlash of that is what then happens, which is all of these games that we had called off because of that, and then we had to play them. But it was an episode with a lot of football, which a lot of people have been.
Like I said, they've got the balance right, I think, between football and talking about real life people and things like that.
Yeah, I think.
Not saying that the footballers aren't real life people. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. Yeah, I think it was very much. I think this was the plan from the start. They knew that the second half of the season was going to be the big moment and the big, this is where all the big stuff happens.
Yeah.
And they knew that. And I think that's why they've tried to balance it in the way that they have.
And they've done a good job, to be fair.
Yes.
This is why they're documentary makers.
Yes, exactly. The second episode of the week was Glove Triangle.
Do you know what? It took me a while, didn't it?
Yeah.
It took me a while to figure out what the pun was for this.
Yeah.
We were halfway through and I went, glove trial.
Yeah. Trial?
Yeah. Triangle. A triangle.
So it focused on the story of Mark Howard, Rob Langton, and of course the arrival of Ben Foster. Now it sort of it upsets you a bit, doesn't it, watching it? Because you're just like,
I love Ben Howard.
Who? Ben Howard's a singer. So
Ben Howard, Mark Howard.
yeah.
I love Ben Howard as well.
Yeah.
I don't know who he is, but sorry, Mark Howard. I was still thinking of Ben Tozer in my head.
Or Ben Foster?
Or Ben Foster. I don't know. Sorry.
Oh, God.
Mark Howard.
Yes. You really like him, don't you?
I
And when he
do.
talks about sort of then being left out the team, he made a mistake, didn't he? Is it Maidstone or Maidenhead? I always get them two mixed up. Anyway, one of the maids. And we dropped points in the last minute where they scored, where he went to come for a ball and he sort of backed away and he should have come and he didn't, and they scored. And then that was the sort of last game he played of the season, wasn't it? We got Ben Foster in. he was very gracious about it, though.
As he was when Ben, oh my God, I'm obsessed with the name Ben. Arthur Okonkwo came in. He was again gracious.
Yes.
He's just an all-round nice guy.
He is.
But I think with Mark, he's thinking of, he's been doing a degree. As we all know, he obviously got a first in his degree.
Yeah.
So he's obviously thinking ahead. He's got his podcast. And he's at a certain, he's not old. He hasn't even hit 40 yet. So, he's got...
In footballing terms, he's knocking on, though,
But
isn't
you
he?
said goalkeepers can last a little bit longer than normal.
They can.
Players.
He's still on the limit of what you can last. Ben Foster isn't the norm.
No.
Playing at 40 isn't the norm. You've got Buffon in Italy. He played till he was 45, I think. Again, not the norm.
Yeah.
You've got keepers can play for longer, but there does come a time, 36 onwards, everyone's different, but from 36 onwards, there'll come a time when the keeper goes, that's enough.
Well, yeah, and I think maybe Mark is coming to that point now of his career. He's got his degree, which is I think it was like media and something to do with sport media or something like that.
Yeah, sports journalism. And
something else. But anyway, like I said, he's got his podcast. He's doing really well with that. He's getting some cracking people on there. So it seems like he's now concentrating on kind of his future for him and his family.
Yes.
And he is kind of encouraging the fact that Arthur Okonkwo is now arguably number one.
Yeah, I'd say so. I said it as soon as he came in for that league game. I said that's it.
You did,
and as it turns out, I knew that would be the case, and I do feel a bit sorry for Mark. But like you say, I think he's got other irons in the fire now, and I think he's looking in different directions. Would he still like to be playing? 100%.
I think if you've been doing it for so long, I think it's I think it's like this weird analogy, but my dad being in the army, I think when he came out, it was like he was in there for like 40 odd years.
Yeah.
30 odd years. I can't remember. But anyway, he was in there for a long time since he was 18. And I think it's hard to kind of go, oh, I'm not going to be, in Mark's instance, I'm not going to be playing in goal anymore.
Yeah.
It's got to be.
It's not just that, though, is it? It's like a little boys' club, and you're not going to be with all the lads anymore. You're not going to be going into the club anymore. You're not going to be on the pitch. And there's lots of not training day to day with the lads and all that sort of stuff.
He might be able to. He might be allowed to.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Quick shout out. We don't usually do it this early, but we haven't
talked about Anthony Forde's little appearance on the documentary.
Oh, well, crack on if you want to.
Anthony. I was just looking at the notes there. Is he going to mention that? No, he's not. Obviously, Anthony Forde and his wife appeared on the podcast this season. Last week. Documentary. What did I say?
Podcast.
Obsessed.
Yeah.
And it was a heart-wrenching episode with them in it, I think. He obviously mentioned that his brother got diagnosed with leukemia.
Yeah.
And then his wife, I think it was after they gave birth to their son Paddy.
Yeah.
That she got diagnosed with a brain tumour.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, now obviously we know the reason why he was absent from the games for so long.
Yeah, let's be honest. Me and you knew the reason anyway from inside the club, and we talked about it before, where we said, look, we know the reason why,
but we're not going to talk about it
because it's personal and it's private. And so we knew the reason why he wasn't there and why he wasn't there for so long.
Didn't know about his brother though.
Didn't know about his brother. We knew about his wife. Yeah, we didn't know about his brother. No.
Honestly, it was just.
So it's a tough thing to go through, that, isn't it? A really tough thing to go through, and we understand why he had to take time away. But it's so weird as a footballer because you want to be playing all the time.
To distract yourself from all the other things going on,
Not so much that, just in general, you want to be playing all the time. And then he's had serious stuff happen in his life. He's had to take a step away. The knock-on effect of him having to take a step away is we've gone out and signed Ryan Barnett, who's turned out to be a really good player. And the awkward thing now is that Ryan Barnett is now above Anthony Forde in the pecking order so this really difficult time in his life, the knock-on effect of that is that he's not getting game time anymore. And that's quite a sad thing for me, because
none of this was his fault.
no, it isn't. He hasn't been left out the team long term because
He was
of
rubbish or anything
poor
like that.
performances or anything like that. It's just a freak of nature sort of event that has forced him to take time away and then forced the club to bring somebody else in.
Yeah.
It's just so
This is the bit of football that I don't like. It's like
Yeah.
it's the constant churn of it's basically business, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is. Football
Yeah.
is a business.
I know.
And as much as they, maybe didn't want to bring in another player, that they had to for the good of the club. And
Yeah.
I do think that Forde needs more game time.
Yeah.
And I just think you and your wife and your brother are so brave. And you're so brave for talking about it as well. It's just made me love you even more. I just love you all.
I want to do a quick shout out for Dragon Chat. We talk about Dragon Chat every week. So Dragon Chat is a peer support mental health group. It's run by Steve, and it's a Zoom call every Thursday from
7:30.
7:30. Sorry,
it's not 7 o'clock till 8:30.
7 till 8:30. God, the amount we've done this 67 times and I still can't get it right. So it's a Zoom call every week. All the details of that Zoom call are down in the description down below. If you want to or you can follow Dragon Chat Steve Lloyd on Twitter to get a little bit more information about what goes on there. We had a little chat with Neil Roberts this week about Dragon Chat and about mental health. So here is a little snippet of our interview with Neil, which will, as I say, will be released tomorrow. Because, it's a season where, you were getting abuse from certain fans at the end of that season. You were obviously not knowing whether your contract was going to be renewed and you were still going to be at the club. Then the club go and get relegated from the Football League. That must take such a toll on you, and with you being the captain at the time as well, that must take such a toll on you personally. All of that stuff all happening all at once.
Yeah, and again, I do touch on this in the documentary. I'm not sure how much more will be on there, but it was one of those that I was sort of somebody that didn't show me feelings very well. I sort of hid a lot. And probably parked a lot to the back of the mind, and unfortunately, it always comes back to the forefront when certain things happen. And I think that's something that happened with me, and I struggled in later life, if you like, and it was around 2016, 17, where I had to reach out and go and get some support for what I was ultimately going through. And some, not all of it, was linked back to certain moments in my career. And there was a lot of regret, and there was a lot of sort of in many ways sadness and disappointment that I'd never really dealt with, but decided, thankfully, to get some support. And I'm very, very lucky and fortunate that at being a footballer, we have the PFA, the governing sort of body, if you like, on the Players Association that helped me get some support. And I'll be eternally grateful for that.
That's actually a question I was going to ask you. Do you think that the support for players' mental health and things is a lot better now than when you played, or is it kind of the same sort of support?
No, I think it's a great question because again, obviously some clubs are more sort of prepared or have the ability perhaps to have somebody there that is a specialist in that given area, psychiatrist or whatever. And I think now the game is a lot more open and a lot more aware about mental health. And I think the nice thing is that I think there's a real sort of understanding that footballers are humans at the end of the day. So, the three of us now, we can have bad days in work. Football is exactly the same. It is work ultimately. And we all have bad days, don't we? So it's something that I think as a collective, not just football clubs being more aware, I think public, society, and we need to keep growing it, and we need to keep sort of in many ways supporting those that are struggling. And you just never know when it's going to creep up on you, and that was exactly what happened to me. So I'm a big supporter and advocate.
So that was amazing talking to Neil. As I say, the full interview will be available tomorrow at 6 p.m, same as a normal. So Tuesday, 6 p.m, that full interview will be available for everyone to watch. So we got 2 games coming up this week.
I was going to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the first one, Tuesday, the 24th of October.
Yeah.
We have got Sutton United at home.
Yeah.
Which I'm very excited about because we haven't been to a night game for a while.
No, it has been.
It's been a while, hasn't it?
It has been a while.
I mean, we've been under the floodlights because the weather's been atrocious
Yeah.
and they've had to turn the lights on.
Yeah.
But so it's 7:45 kickoff UK time. It's available for all fans on iFollow UK and international fans because obviously it's out of the media blackout zone.
Yes.
Obviously, like I mentioned, we're at home at Stoke Caerau.
Stalk.
So Sutton finished 14th on 58 points last season, and they promoted from the National League as champions in the 2020/21 season.
They did, yeah.
And the last game we won against them was in November 2020, and we won 4-0.
That was the last home game against them, yes.
The last away game, it was March 2021, and we drew 0-0, as the Americans say. So 0-0, obviously.
Yeah.
So they I think it was last Saturday, they played Morecambe and they lost 3-2.
Yeah.
They were home. That was home.
Yeah, they were at home.
They were at home, so that's pretty.
Yeah.
So they've won 2, drawn 1, lost 11. That's quite a lot of. So they're bottom at the table at the moment with 7 points.
Yeah.
So I think that when they come to the racecourse on Tuesday, they are going to be chomping at the bit and they're going to want to prove something.
Do you think?
I do.
Okay.
So their top scorer, mind you, we will as well, to be fair. Last season, their top scorer was, I've got to read this because Omar Bugil,
I think.
Bugil. And there was 2. So we've got Omar Bugil and Will Randall with 6 goals each.
Yeah.
And the top scorer this season at the moment is Omari, Patrick and Harry Smith with 5.
Prediction.
Let me get me little notes ready.
Yeah.
So my prediction for Tuesday for Sutton, I'm going to say, I'm going to say 4-1.
4-1.
Yeah, just give them a little bit of,
Okay, I'm going to go for 3-0.
Okay.
3-0 on Tuesday. I think it'd be a big
sorry,
game.
just to remind you, but I'm still winning the...
Yeah, whatever. I was close on Saturday, though,
You
wasn't
were
I?
close. Do you know what? You nearly...
I know. I
won
went 1-0
prediction.
Wrexham for the Bradford game.
You did.
And up until the 85th minute, I thought, I've got this. I got my first one of the season, but no. Second game of the week is Notts County. Saturday, the 28th of October, 3 p.m. kickoff. It's available for international fans on iFollow, and it's an away game at Meadow Lane.
Do you think that time could change?
No.
Have they already announced the televised?
That's done. It's 93 miles away, which is about 2.25 hours.
So excited. We've got tickets.
We've got tickets, so we're going to be at the game. So we'll try and post a couple of videos from the game. We'll try and do our prediction from maybe the ground, something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, I'm not
so
sure.
Excited. Notts County. We've tried to get away tickets for every single away game.
Yes.
But I've unfortunately been unlucky.
Yeah.
But we've managed to pip some Notts County tickets, and I'm so excited.
Yes.
One of the games that I really wanted to see.
Well, we know a lot about Notts County. Obviously, they finished second in the National League last season on 107 points, which is mental. They scored 117 league goals in the process, which was more than us. last season. On Saturday, they won 2-1 away to Gillingham. They've won 8, drawn 3, lost 3 this season, and they're currently second on 27 points. The top scorer last season, I don't know, I've never heard this guy, Macaulay Langstaff, with 41 points. He's also their top scorer this season with 8.
What a shock.
Oh,
Predictions.
I don't know.
This is going to be a tough one, and I'm going to go quite modest. I say this all the time, don't I? But I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw.
You're going 1-1.
I think I'm going to go 1-1.
Okay, I think that's sensible. And it's strange you should say that because I was going to go for a draw as well.
10-all.
But I'm not. I'm not going to go for a draw. I'm going to go for a Wrexham win because you always say I'm not positive enough. So I'm going to go 2-1 Wrexham.
So you're going to be the positive and I'm being the realist?
Yes.
2-1, yeah?
2-1 Wrexham I'm going.
Okay, we shall see.
Yeah, we will see.
Cool.
Excited about that one though.
Really am excited. Can't wait.
Anybody out there who wants to get in touch, you can do on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Threads. No. Or you can email us at methewife@wrexhamafc@gmail.com. And we'll try, we haven't this week, but we will try to read as many of the people who've got in touch as we can out.
We do try to reply back as well, but obviously...
We do get a lot.
We get a lot.
We will get there eventually,
yeah.
But it just sometimes it takes a little bit of time.
Yeah.
We've recorded a little bit early today because we've got a documentary crew coming round to talk to us, haven't we?
Yep.
Not the Welcome to Wrexham documentary. It's an S4C documentary called Club Knee. That's quite exciting. So
Ryan will be dusting off his Welsh. He'll be speaking Welsh. I won't because I don't speak it. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
He's not excited about that.
I haven't spoken Welsh for 20 odd years, but
you have. You're all right.
Yeah. Okay. Quiz time.
Yay!
Right. So it's been a slog this week. Been off work. And still, I've been so underprepared.
It's been so nice though having a week off work, hasn't it?
It has. Yes. So, number 1. Two
lies, one truth.
2 lies, 1 truth.
Yeah.
You just got to pick out.
I confused you a little bit. You went. You kind of paused. Okay.
I told you I don't feel well.
Oh, shut up, moaning.
So, number 1.
Man up, boy.
We are due to play Sutton United on Tuesday.
Yep.
The last time we played Sutton at the racecourse.
Yeah.
Kwame Thomas scored 2 goals.
I thought you were going to ask me when. Yeah.
Luke Young scored 2 goals. Or Reece Johnson scored 2 goals. Gone quiet.
Kwame? Who's Kwame?
Kwame Thomas.
No idea.
He was in the squad when you started going to games.
Okay.
I tried to put people in that I thought you'd know.
Okay, what was the second one?
Kwame Thomas, Luke Young, or Reece Johnson?
I'm going to go with Reece. Oh no, Luke Young.
You're going to go with Luke Young, scored 2 goals.
It's Reece Johnson, isn't it?
Do you want to swap to Reece
No.
Johnson? It's Kwame Thomas. So.
Damn.
We drew Mansfield in the first round of the FA Cup in last. In last season's first round. Okay.
Yeah.
We beat Farnborough 4-1. Number 2, we beat Oldham 3-0. Or number 3, we beat Scunthorpe 3-1.
Farnborough.
Farnborough, wrong.
Oldham.
It was Oldham, yeah. So Farnborough was the second round.
Was it? I knew we played Farnborough, but I couldn't remember.
Scunthorpe was the third round of the FA Trophy. So, rubbish.
I'm not feeling very well.
We play Notts County on... This is making me feel better.
Is
You're
it?
getting them wrong, yeah. We play Notts County on Saturday.
Yep.
Our last meeting was the epic 3-2 win at the racecourse. It was the only time last season we had scored 3 second-half goals. Number 2, it was the first time Macaulay Langstaff had failed to score in 15 games. Or number 3, the attendance at the game was lower than our home game against Wealdstone.
I'm going to go with the Macaulay Langstaff stat.
Yeah.
Because I think, I don't, yeah.
Okay.
It's wrong though, isn't it?
It is wrong, yes. So it wasn't the first time. I think it was about 9 games he hadn't scored for, not 15. But the attendance at the game was lower than our home game against Wealdstone.
That's a shocker.
It is a shocker. Number 4. We are 9 episodes into season 2 of Welcome to Wrexham.
Yeah.
But how well do you remember season 1?
Oh, crikey.
One of the following is a title of a season 1 episode. Okay. Number 1, We're Going to Wembley. Number 2, Breaking Bad. Or number 3, Wins and Losses.
Wins and losses.
It is Wins and Losses. Well done. You got that. Okay, this last one is stats.
Oh,
Stats. Okay. Stephen Fletcher has the best goals per minute ratio for Wrexham in the league this season.
Who?
Stephen Fletcher.
Sorry, I just blanked.
Stephen who?
It just blanked out for a minute then.
Number 2. Sam Dalby has the most assists for the club this season. Or number 3, James McLean has averaged the most tackles per game for Wrexham this season.
I'm going to go with James McLean because he loves a tackle.
It is James McLean. Yes, well done. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to have to come clean a little bit. I think the Stephen Fletcher one's true as well.
Oh!
No, it's not. It's not. I've just twigged. Jordan Davis has the best goals per minute ratio of any Wrexham player. Sorry, I didn't put 2 true. So you are right. It is James
So
McLean.
we got 2 out of how many questions?
It might as well have been 2 out of 20. It was rubbish. No, 2 out of 5.
It's not bad.
That isn't bad, to be fair.
What's that in percentage?
That is 40%. That is definitely an F, isn't it? Let's be honest. If you get 40% in the test, it's right down there. It's either a D minus or it's an F. I don't think you're getting much more than that, to be honest.
You know,
Yeah,
school was never my strong point.
obviously.
I'm good at so many other things though.
Right, I am going to chill out for a little bit now because my head hurts. I've got poorly ears as well.
I'm going to the chemist to get him some ear drops.
Yeah.
As the good little wifey that I am.
Yes, thank you very much for that. So, yeah, we're looking forward to Notts County next week.
Yes.
We will keep an eye on our social media and we'll try and post as much as we can from the game. And we'll see you again next week. Oh, no. Whoa. Do not forget, tomorrow we have another episode, which is our interview with Neil Roberts. Do not miss that. That'll be on there. That'll be episode 68, something like that. Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway, we'll see you again next week. Bye.
Bye.